Richard, I'm glad that you decided to take me up on my offer to record some history of the hobby here. We want to talk about the history of the Scout Memorabilia Society. And Richard, I know you're like the president or whatever, chairman. Can you kind of tell us the story of how that got started and what's going on with it?
Well, we got started in 1994 when there were competing traderies. There'd be one by one organization, and then some individual decided he wanted to do one, and so the dealers they'd be pulled one to the other. So they decided to create an organization, and we decide which tradery was the best one. That's what we go to, and then from there we got into kind of policing ourselves and code of conduct, some things like that, and have endorsed some traderies and things.
And how did you decide who got in, or how big did it eventually grow to?
We took the major dealers at the time that were either working a lot of traderies or were sent out mail order catalogs, which don't exist today.
Right.
And so we brought them in, and if anybody had a bad reputation, they just didn't get an invitation.
So you policed yourselves then?
Yeah.
And what is some of the sharing back and forth that you guys would do? Would it be about opportunities or bad apples to stay away from, or what did y'all sort of communicate?
We've shared at times people who ripped one or the other of us off, and it's always amazing if one of us brought the name up, he'd already touched two or three. Mm-hmm. We discussed Blue Book before it came out. I remember having a big meeting in Wilmington, Delaware about it, and telling them that they wanted to do this, this, and this, and we kept saying, just put a number on it. That's all we cared about, was a way to identify the patches.
So was there always kind of a struggle between like the dealers and the collectors? Did they sort of have different, pulls on things like the Blue Book, things that they wanted to see happen?
I wouldn't say so much with the customers. It was just the ideas that people had. We had Arapaho back then too.
Right.
And so the dealers kind of, they took sides. Some of them were in favor of Arapaho, some were in favor of Blue Book. And it was interesting, and eventually Blue Book won out.
And the key thing being there with Arapaho, as the new supplements came out, some of the issues were renumbered, and some people didn't like that and threw things off if you had it already identified. Well, now that we're in the age of eBay and the internet and all this stuff, this interview's in 2014. Where is the dealer society? Maybe what's the future of something like that?
We haven't done much since 2010 when we did our last tradery for the Jamboree. We're going to meet again next summer and bring in some younger people. A lot of them are my age and older, and bring in some younger people. Bring in the ones that sell on the internet, since we no longer have catalogs. We still need to come up with a logo, and of course, we police ourselves if we have to.
And what are some issues that you think are facing dealers today, or people who are trying to, make some money on the hobby, maybe to pay for their habit? I always tell people that's how I got started with this, is that I needed money to buy more patches for my collection, so that's what led me to sell patches and kind of wheel and deal. So what do you think are the issues you guys are facing in the way the hobby is right now?
There's proliferation of so many patches, especially patches made for raising money. We still have occasional crooks in the organization. We watch out for them, spread the word on them, endorse different traderies and stuff. Last summer the decision was made not to go with the one tradery, and we'll get Chris Jensen to do the tradery next year at NOAC. And so some of the things have changed. A lot of internet selling today, so there's a lot of guys doing that. And like you, it's funny. A guy gets in, he buys a collection to get something out of him. Before long, he's got 2 or 3 collections, and he's a dealer.
Yeah, the definition of a dealer is different in the age of eBay and stuff. So.
Yeah.
I'm also curious. You've been doing this a long time. What is kind of your take on the health of the hobby in general? I mean, to me, I sort of see the hobby changing in some ways. I don't know that it's dying on a vine or anything. But what's kind of your opinion of the hobby?
I think I'm connected to the military show hobby too, And we're seeing a lot of guys buying on the internet and they don't show up at shows. So we don't know who they are, other than that they're buying here and there and that kind of thing. I think in some ways it's healthy, in other ways, the membership of the Boy Scouts going down, I don't think is helping us any. Because the pool of people buying stuff. A friend of mine says this is really a Ponzi scheme. You gotta keep getting more and more people into it to buy, because eventually somebody's got to buy our collections.
Right.
But traderies aren't as big as they used to be in some cases. The one in South Carolina, they're still big. Norfolk's big. I haven't been to Philly in a few years. There's younger guys getting in. But today's, one time everybody tried to get every OA flap or every CSP. Today you collect your council, a lot of cases, or your area, and they specialize. Because there's no way you can buy everything.
Yeah, I really think that's a theme that I've heard people repeat to me this week, is you can't get everything. I had someone from West Virginia contacting me about getting a piece for a Jamboree set, and it was a Jamboree set from Georgia. So people just collecting what they like, things that they think are interesting, and not really going by the old, the days of someone going after a name and number set, those days have gone. The council strips, some councils are, who knows, maybe approaching 200 issues now with all their FOS issues, so people aren't going to go try to collect all that. So I think it's just different now.
Yeah, I know one guy said he quit collecting his lodge because they came out with some where it was $100 just for that piece.
Yeah.
He said the kids can't afford it, so he won't buy it either.
Right. I do think that is the danger in that all the flood of new issues, and then it's the fundraising patches are good for sending kids to NOAC, for example, or helping raise money for the council. But I don't know that they're good for the hobby of Boy Scout patch collecting, because all those limited issues, just people get burned on those and sort of get.
And a lot of people don't collect them either.
Yeah.
They just stay with the official ones.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, Richard, thanks for getting on the air with us. Appreciate that.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Okay.